to get confident in practicing headstand, I like to do a couple of warm-ups before I do the actual headstand, which helps strengthen the core. It helps to strengthen your arm and to really just kind of understand what your arm should feel like in your headstand pose. So you'll hear that to keep the hands soft and loose in headstand. That's an option. I will say that I did hurt myself once with the hands loose. So this is my preference, and you're going to figure out what yours is. I like to hold the hands together, but just more closer together instead of loose like so. So you're going to figure out which one you like better. And it helps. The reason why I hurt myself when I was coming out of this one time is that I rolled over my pinky, so I kind of had my pinky in a sling there for a minute. Not to scare you, but that's just what happened, and that's why I don't do it that way. So fingers are clasped. The forearms are going to be actually the elbows are going to be shoulder width apart when you're putting your arms on the floor, and then you press the weight into the fist and press the weight into the elbows. But first, let's start off with some warm-up stuff. So you're going to come into, you can do, of course, some cat-cow, some sun salutations before you begin. If you do sun salutations, that's really great because it warms up the body, it loosens up the joints and everything, and then you feel a little bit more calmer and relaxed when you're practicing headstand. So I would usually do even some more standing poses too, because standing poses help you feel connected to the earth, the seat of security, and feel more grounded. So after you've done some sun salutations and maybe like a tree pose or warrior poses, you can start practicing this. You come into your plank pose, reach through your back heels, roll your shoulders back, lift up your heart, and just practice what it feels like to press the hands into the floor and take a few breaths here in your plank. Sending the heels back behind you, setting the crown of the head away, and pulling the belly towards the back of the spine. I'm doing a yoga video for my students. Beautiful. And then from here, now if doing that doesn't work for you, you can stay with the knees down. From here, you can take the forearms onto the floor and then reach back into forearm plank here. Take a few breaths. And so you start to feel the strength of the arms and the strength of the hands here. Beautiful. Then you take your knees to the ground and sit into a child's pose. Just to relax here, take your head to the ground, take your hands back behind you, shake out your head a little bit, find some softness in tense areas, loosening them up, and then come onto your feet. Then you can come into some more strengthening or more movement in it. So you can take your hands, clasp again, and then the forearms, elbows width apart. This is the actual position for the arms in headstand. And then come into, actually keep the knees on the ground. Just tuck the toes here and lift up into downward facing dog. So now you're starting to feel that strength of the arms pressing into the floor, the hips and the core being strong here. So the belly moves towards the back of the spine and the hips lift up. Take a few breaths here. Keep pressing the arms into the ground. And then exhale, soften the knees to the floor. Take yourself back to child's pose. And take a few breaths here. So then here comes the movement part of this, which I mentioned before. Come back into your forearms on the floor. This is going to be called dolphin plank. So you're in dolphin right now with the hands clasped. And from here, take an inhale, send the heart over the shoulders. Walk your feet back a little bit just so you can make a full plank. And then exhale, lift the hips up and back. Inhale, send your heart forward. Exhale, lift the hips up and back. So take a few more breaths here, inhaling, lift forward. Exhale, press the arms into the ground, lifting up and back. Inhale, send your heart over the arms. Exhale. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale, send those hips up, pull the belly towards the spine. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. From here, you could walk the feet in for a little bit and just feel what that feels like. Take 3 breaths. And then exhale, place the knees onto the floor again. Child's pose, head comes to the ground. Hands swing back behind you, shake out the head a little bit here. Relax the back muscles. Take nice long inhales and nice long exhales. Inhale, arms stretch up overhead, press the palms into the ground. Lift up your armpits here, feeling that stretch. Beautiful. And then come back onto sitting on your heels again. So now we're going to practice with the head on the ground. We're going to make our way through steps to get up into the full position. And remember, the full position is not the most important thing. It's all about the journey. So take your time. You got to listen to your body. That's really what yoga is. It's listening to your body, coming into your body, and really just connect with those intricate little movements that are happening here to help you feel comfortable coming up into a headstand pose. Okay, so first, take your hands, clasping your hands together. You can keep them soft. You're not going to squeeze your hands like that. Keep them soft as they're clasped. Or if that feels better for you, you can go for that. I just prefer that once again. Shoulder width apart with the elbows. So really check that. You know, do that elbow check first. Because sometimes the elbows tend to splay. Now you've lost your foundation. Okay? So taking fists to the floor, elbows to the floor. And from here, you're going to take your head to the ground. So the top of the head to the ground, not the forehead. Right here at the crown of the head is going to go to the ground, not here. Okay. So take that top of the head to the floor. So you might want to watch the video first and we'll do it again afterwards. Top of the head to the floor. Then you're going to come into kind of a downward dog position. Lift your hips up. Your head's on the floor and you're walking your toes in. Now, if that feels like too much already, you can just stretch the heels back, lift the heels up. Take it here a few times. Inhale, lifting the heels up. And we're feeling what it's like to lift the hips over the shoulders. You can feel the belly start to engage. So take the knees down. Take a couple of breaths here. Shake out the head in your child's pose. And when you're ready, try it again. This time, pulling one knee into the belly. So I want you to watch this video first before you really go for the whole thing, because I really want you to pay attention to what happens next. Because for me, that's the most important thing, is what happens next. Before getting the legs up don't matter. Pulling the knees into the belly is really more important. And you can have a lot of fun that way too. So from here, you're coming onto your knees. You're going to take your forearms to the ground and place your head right there. So keep your feet here keep your feet there. Don't move them back or anything like that. Keep your feet there. And then lift the hips up. Now you start to see that your weight is on your head already. Pull one knee in. This could be enough. Take a few breaths here. And then try the other knee. Take 3 breaths here. And then take your foot down, knees to the ground. Sit back into child's pose. Shake out the head. So that's already a lot. And you're going to know, is this a lot or does it feel light? So once it starts to feel light, you're ready to move on to the next step. But if it still feels like a lot, stay there and just work on there until it feels like, okay, I'm going to chance this. I'm going to dare to pull both of my legs in to the belly here at the same time. So let's try that now. So still working in steps here. Remember, always check your shoulders, always check your hands. Coming onto the toes, lift the hips up. Take one foot in. You start to feel the weight, the hips over the shoulders, and then the other leg can come in. And if that feels good for you, then you can start to do stuff with the hips here. moving the legs a little bit and know what that feels like. So you could stay here. See how my legs are pulled in? It's gonna come down. Just to explain something to you. If you start to feel that your weight is going too far forward towards the hands, you're gonna press your fists into the ground. If they start to move too far back towards the elbows, you feel yourself rocking that way, push the elbows into the ground, okay? So it's very tiny little movements here. You're not, like, you wouldn't jerk a car, like, really quick, or when you're riding a bicycle, you wouldn't want to jerk that. Same thing here, very tiny little subtle movements to keep you balanced, okay? So once you've practiced that, and you've spent a decent amount of time doing it because it feels fun and comfortable for you, and then you can start to explore lifting the legs up to the sky and see what happens there. So again, elbows shoulder width apart. So I'm going to go through this with you now. Take the fists into the ground, elbows into the ground here, and start to really press the arms into the floor. The shoulders are going to wrap around the back body. And then take your forehead to the floor. Come onto the tippy toes again. And from here, pull the one leg in, the other leg in, start to feel your hips, find the balance. And from here, your legs are not going to shoot up to the sky. They're kind of going to come out first. So one leg, I like doing both legs together. It just feels more secure. And then you start to work on the belly strength, on the, like, just finding that core strength. And take a few breaths here. We're going to take 5 breaths here. And I'm going to slowly come down, putting one leg down at a time. And let's sit into a child's pose here. Take my hands back behind me. Relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing the mind. Completely letting go here. And then roll up your spine. That felt good. It was fun to do that. So you can do this also against the wall too. And that is just so that you know that there's a wall behind you. If you're going to do it against the wall, I suggest adding bent legs to the equation. So now the next time I'll show you this, we'll do it against the wall here. So I'll be backwards the whole time. If you want to continue to do this or practice it in the middle of the room without the wall, it's totally fine. Actually, one thing I do want to show you before we get to all that is falling out of it. I did promise you falling out of it. So I will show you how to fall out of it without getting hurt, because you're just going to totally relax into this fall. Taking your hands to the ground, elbows shoulder width apart. Come into your headstand. So I'm pulling the belly in. I release the hands and I just rolled over. Okay, I let myself round there. I'll do it again. Even if you're in the headstand and then you start to fall over, let yourself round it in. Turn into a little, turn into like a forward or backward somersault type of thing. So that the whole body is soft and relaxed, and you don't have to worry about, what's gonna happen? You're gonna be fine. You're just gonna roll around like a little turtle. Okay, so next is doing it at the wall. So of course, if you feel like, you know what, I really want to get my legs up the wall here, but I'm not confident enough, or I don't feel strong enough yet, then you're gonna bring your mat to the wall. Same thing, starting off, sitting on the heels here. Come into your shoulders, shoulder width apart here. Actually, so you don't have to see my booty, I'm gonna change the angle of this. One more second. There we go. Not the best with angling the camera. All right, so hopefully we get the whole thing in here. I think we should be good. So, again, arms together, elbows shoulder width apart. Take your hands to the floor. So you're kind of in a tabletop position here.